Well, thank you all for being here first, and to the TransPerfect Music City Bowl. What a week it's been. You've just been so classy in how you've handled our teams and our staffs and our wives, and just everything has been first class. And Scott, thank you again. It's our second time here for me, and I think you've improved even from a really, really good one the time before. So thank you, and I know Brian's here, I think, one of the board members too, and we appreciate the whole board for what they've done. And it's been a good experience in Nashville, and we're excited to represent Auburn and our conference, the SEC, and in this game tomorrow against a really, really, really quality opponent in Maryland from a great conference also, and that has a coach that I have great respect for. That's always treated me with class and respect, and also does a heck of a job coaching his team. So our kids are excited. It's a different world now for me with the opt-outs and the transfer portal and things. And we'll have a different team tomorrow than we had at the end of the season. But in some ways, that's exciting, to kind of see how they perform. So we're excited about tomorrow's opportunity.
Thank you, Coach Freeze. Coach Locksley.
Sure. Again, I want to thank Scott Ramsey and obviously Brian Waller and everyone affiliated with the TransPerfect Music City Bowl for the hospitality that we've enjoyed here in Music City, man, in Nashville. It's a first-class bowl in terms of how they treat us, our players, our support staff, our families. Our entire team is really enjoying everything about Nashville other than the hot chicken. We brought a bunch of DBs up to eat the hot chicken, and we struggled. But the great food, great music, and overall great football city. We've had some great practices over there at Ensworth High School, and we appreciate their hospitality for hosting us as well. And now we're ready for a competitive football game against a really well-coached team in Auburn. I don't know if you know this, Hugh, but my daughter's an Auburn grad.
Yeah.
She didn't get a lot of Christmas gifts. I hope she's not rooting for you. She wants a car payment paid for. But no, it'll be a great challenge. For us, we always consider the bowl game almost like a movie trailer for what next year looks like. When we finished up against Rutgers, that team that we had last year was done, and now we're showcasing and kind of that movie trailer when you go see the movie there, and it shows you what the storyline will be. And we look at this game as one of those type of games for us because we've got some great energy from our young players that will have opportunities that maybe they didn't have as much this season. We've got some older players that are leaving, that want to leave the right way. And again, we're excited to see what these young players have to offer, as well as the quarterback situation we have. But to me, the biggest thing is to come out and build momentum into the 24 season. This will be our third straight bowl game, and we're really looking forward to a great game tomorrow.
Thank you both. We'll now open it up for questions, and if you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you.
I guess for Mike, Hugh had mentioned a while ago that you two had a good relationship, particularly when he was out of coaching. I guess just what do you remember about that, and what kind of sparked the relationship between you guys over the years?
Well, man, it started through Coach Saban, obviously. Coach Saban has a lot of respect, obviously, for Hugh and as well as myself, and the job he did at Ole Miss. I got to Alabama in 2016 and had a chance to go against Hugh's team a few times there, and I know Coach Saban had a lot of respect for him. And obviously, when I took over as the play caller, I could just remember a nice long meeting we had and shared some offensive philosophical things. And again, Hugh's been great, throughout the process. He's one of those guys that has earned it the right way, man. He started in the high school ranks and worked his way up and had great success. And it's all about relationships. And I've gotten to know Hugh really well, and one of the guys I respect in his business.
Mike, Hughes talked about opt-outs and those things, and for Auburn, it's the defensive guys that are the big part of that. For you, it's the quarterback. How have you seen your quarterbacks kind of respond to the challenge of knowing it's their time up?
Yeah, our philosophy is next man up. I mean, once you go through COVID, which I know we both did, and you wake up and you don't know who's going to be available to play, it really taught us some valuable lessons back then. And, you know, one of the things I've learned over the course of it is, you know, these bowl games are great for college football. And we took the approach of, you know, we're finishing it the right way with the seniors, but it's a precursor to what the future looks like for Maryland. And so, you know, the opt-outs are part of the game, and, you know, you got to keep adjusting. It's kind of like coaching on offense and defense. You just got to keep making adjustments. And obviously losing a quarterback of Leah's ability and what he's done for Maryland, again, can't put a price tag on it, but I'm really excited about Billy Edwards and Cam Edge. And, you know, those two have been pretty much 2A and 2B throughout the season, and they've gotten a ton of reps. They've got a lot of bank reps of our systems, and it'll be interesting to see how they both perform.
I just want to ask about the health of the team, especially with the sicknesses you talked about earlier in the week. You know, some guys had to stay back. Are you guys better on that front? Like, what are you anticipating?
Yeah, our doctor's report this morning was that all but one, I think the fever has broken, and you know, I don't know how strong they'll be and things. They'll have to hydrate really well today, but it's kind of like everything else we're dealing with, the opt-outs, you know, you can't control some things. And but I do think I had a good report this morning that most everybody was feeling better, and I'm sure if all possible they'll give it a go. And you know, when Coach Locksley was talking about just the ebbs and flows of these opt-outs, and it gives me a greater appreciation too, and I'm sure he would say the same, of those kids that are finishing. And I applaud them. I told them in our team meeting this morning, guys, and I'm not trying to beat up anybody, or people have to make their own choices, and our choices make us. But there's many in probably both of our locker rooms that, man, I want to finish, and I just respect that, and I'm also excited, like him, to see the younger guys. I'm afraid of how they'll tackle all his receivers and stuff, because they haven't tackled since fall camp. You know, we don't tackle in practice anymore. Now we're supposed to play a bunch of DBs that haven't probably tackled anybody to the ground since then. So that will be interesting to see how we do with that. And somebody asked me this morning about his quarterback situation. I said, well, I turned on the TV yesterday, and there were two guys that hadn't taken any snaps, and they threw for like 400 yards. So, I mean, it's just about opportunities, and I think we both are kind of excited to see how these the kind of the start of the 24 team will look tomorrow.
So, Coach Locksley, we asked kind of earlier in the week to Auburn's side about just the helmet communications. You guys have been using that this week. I guess, why did you decide to use that now, and what has been the adjustment process to having that in your helmets?
Yeah, you know, something that I know in our conference, the Big Ten, we talked about before this season started. We had our head coaches meetings up there in Chicago, and we talked about the Big Ten experimenting in Big Ten games during the season, and then because it was so late, we couldn't do it. And then when I heard that we had the opportunity to utilize the coach-to-player communication as well as the iPad stuff on the sideline, I called Hugh and said, hey man, I think at least something that we should think about doing, because it gives us a chance, if it goes into play and next season, to kind of see how it works and work out the kinks. And you know, it's been great to have for the last couple of weeks in practice. You know, it's a little different, and for us, it gave us an opportunity to kind of see how it worked. And so it'll be interesting to see how what advantages it gives us, especially playing young players. I think it'll be great for us on Saturday to be able to coach them through games during the course of the game.
I'll be anxious to hear his report.
Hugh, you guys had an interesting transfer signee in Sam Jackson. Can you talk a little bit about the process of not only getting him as a transfer, but the fact that he's going to be converting to wide receiver, kind of the decision process of that?
Yeah, you know, obviously I made no secret that our focus was entirely on the high school recruiting leading up to signing day, and I didn't want to do anything that compromised that. And I don't know that I'm right in that approach, but it's just, I think I'm better at long-term relationship recruiting than I am. I'm not doing real well in the speed dating portal. I just haven't done real well in that. And so we put our whole focus on that, and obviously then from there you do have to, because managing a roster these days is impossible, because you can say you're gonna build it through high school, but then you have 10 guys of yours going to Portland, you didn't recruit enough high school guys to get to your 85, so now we do have to start filling in the holes with portal recruiting. And I got to witness Sam obviously live this year as we played, and he initially went in and but was a 2-time transfer, and so I didn't think that's something that we could do. And then obviously the new legislation that came down a few days ago, I guess. I just it's a risk probably, but I think he's one heck of an athlete. I watched all of his high school receiving stuff, and he obviously caught balls from Peyton Thorne, which I think there's some chemistry there. And I think he has the possibility, I don't know if as you watch even the NFL now, I think they're starting to do more things like Locksley and I do with these receivers coming back into the backfield and doing different things. And he, to me, gives me a lot of flexibility in that regard to be able to do that. So for us, it was worth, even though I hadn't seen a lot of college reps at receiver, I've seen a lot of practice and his high school stuff, and I just think an athlete like that gives us some flexibility.
He's not playing tomorrow, right?
No.
I just want to make sure. You guys got me a bit nervous.
Coach Locksley, Frank Wycheck, a big hero in the city of Nashville, and obviously a prominent figure for Maryland football. Can you elaborate how you feel about getting the chance to honor him in this game?
Yeah, how ironic for us to come to Music City to play for the first time in our bowl game, and obviously we lost a great Maryland legend in Frank Wycheck, all-time leading tight end in the history of Maryland football, and the things he was able to accomplish in the NFL. 2-time All-Pro guy that played an integral role in the Music City miracle, obviously, and we're all saddened by the loss of Frank. He was a guy that was loved by all the different generations of Terps that have come through there because of how he represented us, not just at Maryland, but in the NFL. And definitely, I saw a couple of our alum that live here in the area came by practice, and we're sharing some fond memories of Frank. So we're looking forward. We'll wear a decal on our helmets for him in honor of him and what he meant to Maryland. And we're really excited to kind of represent him the right way here.
Hugh, I guess having a full staff continuity, a 10-man assistant staff is rare in college football now. For you guys to presently be at that point for the 2024 season, I guess just how excited are you, and how much better do you think you guys can be on both sides of the ball because of having those same coaches in place?
Well, it's continuity is invaluable, and driving the same culture, the same voice, from the staff room to the position rooms, and then hopefully from the position rooms to the locker room is really when I think you get to be a special team. And it starts with the staff believing the same things and saying the same things and not wavering from those. So continuity is always invaluable. And the time we live in times where I doubt very seriously that all the coaching changes are over. It's probably just now getting ready to pick up, and who knows exactly what everybody's staff will look like in a month from now. But no matter of what ours, if it looks exactly the same or if it looks differently, the message will be the same. Is we've got to find that continuity. I don't know how Coach Locks feels, but I don't know that I've ever felt like I took over a program and I got every single hire in the whole building right the first time. Because you're just so crazy with recruiting, and so I think there's always the evaluation from our chair of, can we improve ourselves some way?
Coach Freeze, how do you view this bowl game? Coach Locksley said he sees it as a precursor movie trailer for next year. For you, with some of the continuity you do have on your roster, is this a capper to this season, your first one at Auburn, or is it something to help you continue building into next year?
You know, I think it's both for me. When I say it's kind of it's the capulating last game for the Cam Stutz and the Gunnar Brittens who've just given so much to this program, and you know, and many of them are not going to have an NFL future, but they have a degree, and they're getting to go out, you know, the way they want to go out and finish for Auburn and for their teammates, and so I celebrate that. And then we've got all freshman DBs starting tomorrow, so it is absolutely in my mind for them kind of the start of the 24, you know, the 24 year. So it's kind of both for me, truthfully.
Hey Mike, so what have these last couple weeks been like for Billy Edwards? All the rapid change from finding out Talia's opting out to taking first team reps and preparing to start. Just what are you expecting to see from him tomorrow?
Yeah, it's not been much different for Billy. Billy's one of those guys, and we've talked a lot about Leah, and as we should because of what he's done, but let's not misrepresent the fact that Billy Edwards has been a driving force in our program as the number 2 guy, and I would think that if you talk to Leah, he played an important role in Leah in his development as well because of the friendship they had. But Billy's practiced really well. There's no drop off in terms of the type of leadership that he'll provide. You know, he's been throwing the ball really, really well. He's got all of his weapons for the most part have decided to finish, like you talked about. You know, we spend too much time talking about the guys that opt out, and I think we need to spend more time on the young men that have decided to finish, and that's not a knock like we talked about on guys not deciding to finish because the landscape of college football is what it is, but I do think guys like the Ja'Shawn Joneses of the world, and you know, those guys that have made the decision to finish. DJ Glaze as a Senior Bowl invite will be drafted. Jaquan Shepard, these type of players, those guys are the ones that when we saw what happened a year ago with Jacoby Bennett coming back to play, being the MVP of the game, I want to make sure we celebrate those guys and what they've been able to accomplish.
Coach Freeze, you're not using the helmet communication devices for this game. How long did that take to make that decision? And is it one of those things, it sounds like there's not a lot of SEC teams that are in bowl games that are doing that. Do you want to wait to the offseason and investigate it in spring? Or is this maybe something that the league wants to talk about later this in a few months?
You know, Locks called me, and you know, I immediately said, absolutely, man, let's do that, and I have zero problem with them doing that. But then, you know, sometimes discussions happen above you that you don't, that you're not really in, and I'm full steam ahead recruiting at that point, and really didn't have time to enter into all those discussions. And I just think there's you know, we as a league, I think, want to be unified in kind of how we move forward, and truthfully, I'm not really sure where it stands, but we are using the tablets, and but just chose not to at this point use the helmet communication.
Any other questions? Coach Freeze, Coach Locksley.